Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Nat Cafe. We are your hostesses, Nathan Jones, otherwise known as the Hermit Druid, and Olive, the Harrow Mistress Pascal.
Hello!
So today on the Night Cafe, our topic is going to be about homebrewing your own army and everything that goes along with it. And because it's been something that I've been having a fun time with recently, and it's one of my favorite things about the hobby. But before we get into that, I just want to give a general shout out to our patrons and Discord community members. You are literally the reason why we do this. And before we get into the podcast, here are some updates from said community. We're going to be some highlights from the painting jobs from our patrons. If you want early access to podcasts like this and behind-the-scenes streams and hangouts, along with community-driven painting lessons, games, please consider joining our Patreon. Toronto rent isn't cheap, and we need to keep the garage lights on. Recently, one of our patrons, Gashak, has painted this wonderful Redemptor for our Commander Sealed giveaway. If you don't know what that is, you can find out in our Discord or in an upcoming podcast. Also, I'd like to shout out Jose on his recent win. He's been absolutely mopping up the local scene in Puerto Rico, and we love to see that.
Good job, Jose.
Now with all that out of the way, Olive, is there anything you're working on?
Oh, Trader Guard, baby! I've
Trader
gone
Guard.
in deep on the Trader Guard. I used to play Trader Guard back in, I think 4th edition, when Forge World came out with their, Renegades and Heretics army and everything. I even have some of those models. But they haven't been a thing for so long, but I'm basically doing a counts as an Astra Militarum army, but they're all chaosified.
Awesome. I personally am not looking forward to playing against that army. I have never played my knights into Guard, but that is quite literally the one army that I'm not looking forward to at all.
I've played one game with it so far, just on Tabletop Simulator. I'm bad with it, but that board was also very terrain cluttered, so I never really got very good lines of fire. So we'll see if I play on a slightly more open board, see what happens.
Because I know your specific playstyle is always just spam tokens. So what I'm afraid of, what I'm personally terrified of, is when you start playing Imperial Guard like Tyranids.
Yeah.
That's actually what I'm quite terrified of, because remember we were talking about in the last podcast, also if you haven't seen the last podcast, please go back and take a look, because we might be referencing it. You were saying one of the issues is you have all the termagants and everything to move block me and whatnot, but your guns aren't strong enough.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guess what?
Guess what? Guard's got guns.
Yeah, fucking all it's just seeing a couple Rogel Dorns on the other side and a couple tank commanders on the other side. It's just all right, this is going to be real quick. Because I know you're going to throw waves and waves of meat in front of me to lock me up and then blow the fucking top off the knight suits with those tanks.
Speaking of, actually, so back in the day, okay, we're going off on that tangent, but that's okay. It's a fun tangent. Back in the day, Guard you could upgrade their squads with crack grenades and melta-bombs to be tank hunters in melee, and I played almost mono infantry Guard, and yeah, people would try to drive Land Raiders into me to try to just stomp all over me and everything, and I'd be like, actually the guy with the melta-bomb straps it to the side of your Land Raider and blows it up, and they're like, what? They were not expecting melee Guard to be a thing. It was hilarious.
So when I said I was terrified of you playing it like Tyranids, now I'm just realizing that the Bridgehead Task Force that just came out, that's one of the most powerful detachments, might be exactly what you're after as well. So,
no, I'm looking forward to that Siege detachment.
oh,
Let's
lovely.
go.
Well, everybody, you can tune in later to watch Olive absolutely tin can me. And actually, with that, for myself, I got another trade. Of some Space Marines, which I'm going to be trying to work into my home chapter.
Tell us about them.
Well, I see that. Well, that's the thing. So that kind of brings us into the reason why we're having this topic today, and about homebrewing your own, homebrewing in general, for many different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
I'm personally going to be homebrewing this Space Marine chapter, so it can give me lots of different ways to play all Space Marine detachments. So, if I'm only getting one army, right? And if I want to make it count for as much as possible, I want to be able to play I don't want to play Ultramarines. I don't want to just play Blood Angels. I don't want to just play Space Wolves. Oh yeah, I want to play some Space Wolves in my thing. Well, it's about how are we going to make this work. And that essentially has led to the long and arduous yet fun process of creating or working on my own chapter.
Yeah.
But you have your own chapter as well with your Alpha Legion. You got a whole bunch of characters and some other stuff. Why don't you tell us about that first while I collect my thoughts?
They're a warband. Thank you very much.
Sure.
There's not
Whatever
enough
you
of,
heretics say.
there's not enough of them to be a chapter. A chapter's like 1,000
Fair.
boys.
Fair.
So yeah, I guess I've been playing Alpha Legion since the first Dawn of War came out, basically. I didn't have Tyranids in the first Dawn of War, so I had to pick a faction to play as in that, and Alpha Legion was an option there, and I kind of fell in love with their goofy, mustache-twirling villains of the Dawn of War era. All of them voiced by Scott McNeil, by the way, Canadian superstar. Oh god, he did such a good job bringing all those characters to life. And I fell in love with them, and so I started collecting Chaos and Alpha Legion, and never looked back.
Like, as I was talking about, like, keeping cohesive amongst, like, your army, we recently just got our hands as, the company, as the podcast, on a box of the Slanesh, or the Champions of Slanesh. So we've been trying to, like, incorporate that into your Alpha Legion army as well. And oddly enough, that also opened up a whole thing of demons, apparently, because you would also been collecting those.
I mean, I played demons back when Warhammer Fantasy was a thing. I had a Demon Legion army for that. And they've been sitting in storage for a very long time, just basically in a shoebox. And so, yeah, I had a lot of Slanesh demons for it.
Phenomenal. So that for me is also like one of the reasons why I like, setting up like a homebrew chapter or a homebrew warband or a homebrew, high fleet in any case. Is because like you have some demons. Well, I don't want to like, and you have these mishmash of collected armies. And so like by finding ways to make them cohesive in story, in paint scheme and whatnot, you end up being able to play more armies, or by combining your different things to get them on the tabletop, which I think is a really cool, thing about like Warhammer. Like being able to like, oh, I have these demons that are sitting on the shelf. Well, now I can play them with this, and like being able to collect lots of little things and make them work, which is why I generally kind of like the soup detachments that Warhammer, James is working on. Even though I not necessarily might like the taste of the soup's detachments that are coming out, I like that they're cooking.
I'll say this, they're getting better at the soup detachments. Both the recent Genestealer Cult one and the recent Emperor's Children one actually, they buff both sides of the soup.
Yeah.
Or both ingredients of the soup, however you want to say it.
However we go with the metaphor.
Which a lot of the soup detachments before were really just focused on one side of the soup.
Yeah, the Grotmis detachment that came out for the Knights that everybody basically took one look at and ignored, like, doesn't even work with the army rule.
Yeah, exactly.
Which was definitely a choice. How that and the Genestealers one both came out in the same month is very shocking.
Well, okay, I used to play a lot of Brew Brothers Genestealers, but that detachment is, in my opinion, such a bad detachment because you use your guard models to buff up the shooting of your Genestealer Cult models. But the only Genestealer Cult models that shoot are the Neophytes. Yeah. And they are not even that good at shooting. Way around. And so the whole time I'm just like, why wouldn't I just play more guard? Guard with like Genestealer heads if I wanted to do shooting. Yeah. Because the Genestealer Codex just has one shooting unit in it, and it's not even very good at shooting.
Oh well. Either way. Like I'm like that just seems really backwards. You figure you want to give the Genestealers like because the Genestealers have like the sneaky abilities.
Yeah, exactly.
So you figured you want to sneak in the Genestealers to give your Imperial Guard better shots.
Yes, it needs to be reversed because not only that, the guard units can only do the buff if they are within like 18 inches of the enemy, and the guard units are the ones that want to hang back and shoot, and the Genestealer Cult ones are the ones that want to run forwards and get into arm's reach. So it's like, it's completely backwards. It's encouraging you to keep your Genestealer Cult units away and move your guard units up where they're going to get murdered.
It's like, you kind of almost seems like you want to be playing this sort of like Tau of like being able to deep strike in your like Genestealer Cults to be able to call in like airstrikes from your guard, you know what I mean?
That's exactly what it should be, but they reversed it.
Oh, well, as I said, we like that they're cooking.
Yeah, they're getting better.
And with that, like the homebrewing, it's really about celebrating the creativity in the hobby and just being able to bring in all your different models and ideas and like the stuff that you enjoy about the storyline and the game and just kind of like try to make it your own. Yeah.
I've ended up going off on a lot of like rules side of things here, but yeah, this is an episode about homebrewing, of course.
Yeah. So, well, even for me, so like I like the rules of the game. I like the way that Space Marines play. I like the different things that they can do. So this is why I play Space Marine. I play for the rules and the gameplay as much as anything. Like the story I can just enjoy from the outside. But the whole reason why I'm sitting here screaming at the wall trying to like learn how to make a cohesive paint job is because I generally thoroughly enjoy the gameplay and I want to have lots of different ways to play my Space Marines.
Yeah.
I don't want to just have Ultramarines, which are really cool, but like I have a Reboot Gilliman.
Yep.
But I also have a Lion.
Well, just play both.
Well, that exactly. So like, so that's why I can't. Unfortunately, they won't let me field the two of them together for whatever purposes, whatever reasons.
That'd be stupid. I'm not playing as that.
Look, they're brothers. They deserve it. That's also why I think we like. I personally like playing the two-headed giant style games that we do, which I think we're going to try and lead much further into as like our unique thing that we do as content. However,
I need a partner.
We're probably going to be dropped. Yeah, you need a partner for them, and we also probably need to drop the points on each side of the army by 1,000.
Yeah, I love my big stupid games, but we need to get through these games with our sanity intact.
Yeah, with our sanity intact. Anyways, so like that just really like allows you to put your own imprint onto Warhammer and like show your appreciation and your love. And I feel the more you get into this game, the more you start developing ideas and like, oh yeah, like the oh, I like this chapter, or I like that war band or something. Like I might be a loyalist at heart because I like protecting my fellow man, but I might personally agree with a lot more of the chaos.
Yeah, tear it all down, fuck it.
Yeah, you know what, like, so the concept, so in my own ways, saying or like earlier I was saying I like the rule set, and how am I going to make the rule set in the way that I want to play work? I generally, what I really enjoy in Warhammer, I really had taken to the Phobos units.
Yeah, Phobos units are actually sick as fuck.
Yeah, and then I've also like my favorite unit. I personally own at the moment 15 Inceptors.
Oh yeah.
And I will be buying another box of Inceptors because I need to fill out a full squad of Plasma. The rest of them are all bolters.
Yeah.
So this is the kind of like the gameplay style that I really enjoy. I like hit and run. I like tactical, quick dropped, heavy armor. I like this style of play of being able to like put my incursors or my incursors to like light up to mark targets to then boost the rest of my army. And that makes me feel like this nice cohesive plan and everything. It all works together, but there is no real chapter that like there's chapters that do this kind of stuff, but there's not ones that really pull in like sneaky berserkers.
Yeah.
So basically, having gone through the lore and finding like these kind of concepts and what I like, I started to create my own chapter from this. This concept of, and I traded into a Blood Angels lot, which kind of works for me like a lot because I very much enjoy the concept of somewhat of like a silent hunter, a silent monster. These things like that come very quietly. Like I grew up on campfire stories, and that's the way that I like to tell my things. So like creatures in the woods.
You have a lot of spooky in the woods vibes. I guess you are the hermit druid though, so.
Yeah. All my things are just like the things that go bump in the night in the woods.
Yeah. Oh, you should. Oh. Sorry, I just had a great idea for your chapter. Their recruiting process is they stealth into your house and steal your children like spooky fae in the middle of the night.
That's exactly what happens. That is exactly what happens. So the story that we work in is like it's like very much the Brothers Grimm style Marines. It's like they're in the woods. We don't go in the woods.
Yeah.
We thank them though, because we've never like they're loyal. They're loyalists in the fact that they have no interest in the way that I like Space Marines. It's like I am not human. I am here to protect humanity, but I am not one of them. Like even in Magic the Gathering, they took away the human typo for them and called them Astartes.
Yeah.
They are not human.
They are not human. No. The other thing is too, they also don't understand humans.
Exactly. So I like to lean into the inhumanity of things, and so where some people are like, They're like, oh, there are no nice Marines. I want to make a nice Marines. I'm trying to make not nice Marines. So for them, it's like, oh, never go out into the woods. Be careful, like out in the woods. Like we're protected by the creatures in the woods, but if you go there, we're not responsible for what happens to you. Don't go into the woods. And then again, the same kind of Brothers Grimm is how they, like exactly how they replenish their things is we just say occasionally a kid goes missing, and we just say thank you.
You need to get some like Bretonian headdresses on them with the antlers and stuff. So
Yeah.
At a distance, they look like a spooky moose.
So that's basically one of the chapter symbols that I've been looking at is like a wolf skull or like a wolf head with deer antler.
Yeah, that's super sick. No, that's a great vibe.
Yeah, and it really I'm very much basing a lot of my stuff on the indigenous mythology of my area, the monsters of Algonquin, the skinwalkers.
Yeah. Oh, dude, you could call them the skinwalkers if you wanted to.
Very much so, because like in one of the last things we had talked about homebrewing my chapter, because again, I have a lot of characters in my army. And they're going to be characters that are going to be like named after or named by our Discord members. Again, if you want to see more information on that, please check our Patreon. And I like the story of keeping the same characters. So we had once talked about and my own habits of if it's not perfect, I wash it and do it again. So we have this ongoing joke in the Discord about getting souped. It's like returning to the soup. So I feel like I might almost want to make my Marines the same person, but like they change their bodies, or like they're like if their body dies, they have their personality somehow, like in Wraithbone technology.
Well, I told you what the Blood Angels used to do before Sanguinius showed up, right?
Oh, they ate them, right?
Yeah, when a hero of theirs died, someone would then eat them and gain all their memories and then take on their name and their armor to basically just become them.
Awesome. Like, so I've got a whole bunch of just I'm still doing the cannibal thing. Phenomenal.
Yeah. So it's literally like their heroes never died because a new guy would just step up and take his place and he would gain all the skills of the previous guys, who's basically the same dude.
Phenomenal. I'm sorry, all you can hear me just typing that down right.
You put the Space Marine in the soup, the new guy eats the soup, he becomes the old guy, and then they can dress him up in his armor, they stamp his name onto him, and they're like, there you go, and he's back. He's back alive, everybody.
I am so down with that. And like...
I like that they make a soup in a cauldron, though, because of the spooky Fae vibes.
Boil it, what's that, boil and bubble, toil and trouble, make a bath.
Yeah, they can do spooky witches in the woods. You could use, you know how like the Dark Angels have like the stupid little Jawa things as like chapter surf vibes? You could do spooky witches in the woods as your chapter surf.
I mean, that's basically Dark Angels at that point. They're kind of like the spooky, and they're called Watchers in the Dark. They are probably one of my favorite things. I own an Azrael, I own a Lion, and I think I have 4 just random Watchers.
They're Jawas.
They're Jawas. They're absolutely Chaos Jawas, but that's a different topic. So, like, one of the other reasons why we get into this is because these homebrews and whatnot and all the characters, are a phenomenal way of, telling telling the stories and narrative of the hobby. One of the more common sayings in Warhammer 40k are like dice tell stories. So now you just want to have your characters in the story.
Absolutely.
And like a lot of the crazy shit that happens on the tabletop. So one of the things about this is the stories that like the characters and being able to build on the characters. In a previous game I had with one of our patron members and one of my dearest friends, Tamir, we ended up naming one of his captains that took a massive chunk out of Canis Rex. For some reason, Tamir's we're playing knights. So Tamir's army was having some struggle because 8-bound still have a hard time into knights.
Nice.
But then just from the low amount of attacks.
Yeah.
However, when Tamir needed the most, their captain, thus named Ferris Phallus afterwards because he is a big dong swinger, took a massive, just floored Canis Rex in basically a single round of combat. And we're like just blown away at the amount of damage that's done. And like this guy's a monster. This guy's the big dick. This guy's the iron dick. And then we're like, Ferris Phallus? Yes, that is this guy's name. So now every single game we play, That guy, that's Ferris Phallus.
That's a terrible name.
That's amazing name. What the hell are you talking about?
It's a fucking terrible
It's
name.
amazing. Ferris Phallus is the best.
This is Iron Dick.
Iron Dick.
That's what you're naming him.
Yes. I mean, that's what we named him because these guys got the big dick. He swung it, and oh Lord, did he connect. Talking about swinging something big and connecting. The last time Hexus went into Canis Rex?
Yeah, she almost got him.
Holy shit, she fucking, oh my God. Anyways, I love these things. I love these parts of the game. And like it makes you just want to play your army more. Like if you like just Ultramarines, that you can also just make your own Ultramarine successor chapter. You know what I mean? You don't, or just play your different part of the Ultramarines army. And I don't know. I think that's really like these dice telling stories is what keeps people really involved in coming back again and again and again. And you hear stories about like John Lennon and like Ben, all these guys from like these top players that are also just really into the stories of the games play.
Yeah.
One of the first ones was these kind of like stories. Like I might pick this Marine back up again. He's one of from our first games. Was that Marine that went toe to toe with your psychophage?
Oh yeah, that guy.
For 3 goddamn rounds.
That's not even an anomaly. Psychophages just bounce off of high armor.
Okay, well, you know, I had to. It's like I was making 5-up saves. Okay, you know what I mean? I don't make 5-up saves. I don't make 5-up saves. That's why I like 4+ invulnerability saves, because I just can't fucking do that.
I'm gonna say this. I know you've been struggling figuring out the overall story of your Marines. That's a sick-ass story. You should stick with that.
So that's the fun part about this entire thing. This has always been the story, but then one thing gets added to it.
Oh, okay. No, that's super cool. Spooky in the Woods Marines.
Spooky in the Woods Marines is basically what we came back to, because it was always about like the names were like the Laughing Crows, or like the Blood Crows, or just something that goes bump in the night.
Don't actually have them on the planet of Avalon.
No.
Have them either they're either fleet-based, or
yeah.
they are in a space station, or they are on another planet in the system, and they come to New Avalon, 1 for training and 2 for recruitment. But that makes them more mysterious if the locals don't actually know where they're coming from.
So if we had, remember when we first talked about like the concept of this army in the first place, is that they had allowed themselves to be destroyed.
Oh.
They had allowed themselves to be wiped out by the Inquisition.
Oh, why? Why would they do that?
So that they could be officially off the record, like fully redacted. Like this chapter, like because they eat the things and whatnot, and they can keep the memories, they allow the Inquisition to exterminatus their fleet. They make them think that they blew them out, and that allows them to operate as if they were myth and legend with impunity anywhere.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Like even the name just could be the Redacted.
No, that's an actual for real Alpha Legion warband in the lore.
Phenomenal, I love it.
No, they're
there
awful. They're stupid as fuck. First of all, there's like 6 of them. That's the entire warband. And second of all, they're fucking Emperor Loyalist worshiper. They suck the Emperor's dick harder than the Loyalist Marines do.
So they're the shield.
Yeah, that's what they think. Alright, so it seems like why you like to homebrew is more about like how you can, building lists and using particular units certain ways and everything like that. Whereas for me, the story has always come first over everything else, kind of thing. I have a bad habit of using subpar lists to match some kind of story in mind. I do that with my Tyranids all the time. I love my big Gaunt Swarms, and I love my Termagants, because in my brain, Tyranids are supposed to work like this like a carpet of Gaunts, basically. They are just bodies forever. Even if Unending Swarm isn't that good, I still want to use it all the damn time, because I'm like, no, that's how they work, and that's how they work in the stories. That's how my Hive Fleet works. But it's extra weird when it comes to my Alpha Legion. So, I have over the years kept a log of the battles I play with my Alpha Legion, of story campaigns or even just one-off battles or events I've gone to, and I've written them up like they are narrative things within the army's lore.
Mm-hmm.
And for a time, because I had a sniveling, traitorous bastard as my second in command, very Starscream-esque, because I'm a Transformers nerd.
I was about to say.
Yeah, I mean, Alpha Legion is literally made up of 100% Starscreams.
Yeah, it's one way to put it.
Sometimes you have a more Starscream among them.
It's just what kind of Starscream? Do we got Starscream Prime? Do we got Starscream the original series?
No, SpongeBob Starscream from Transformers Animated. Tom Kenny
Oh, no.
Starscream.
Oh no.
But anyways, my two like overall lords were Lord Karis and Sorcerer Gamal. And I was essentially keeping track of wins and losses depending on which one of those lords was leading that particular army. And they were getting tallies, and Karis was getting very unlucky. And when a new codex came out, I basically ran a battle against myself with the squads that were more loyal to one character or another on either side. And it was just a big old slog to see who came out on top. Karis, being a fucking Terminator Lord, could crush Gamal, but through shenanigans, Gamal ended up winning that whole little war between the two of them. But I enjoyed Karis a lot more as a character and everything when I was writing for him and all this sort of thing, and so I basically had Zeech whisk Gamal away into the warp for his super cool betrayal shit, because that's the kind of shit that Zeech does.
You can give the ability to give your own characters plot armor is kind of fucking based.
Yeah. And while he was in the warp, Gamal got to become a demon prince, and Karis kept basically getting his ass kicked because the Chaos Codex was not as good as it used to be, and I was just I wasn't great at playing it. And so I kept that whole thing going though, keeping track of the stories. Like it's like 7 pages long, written in the style of a Games Workshop timeline. You know how they used to do like those timelines of like M33 this happens kind of thing. Like I was doing that for all the different battles and whatnot.
Damn.
And then yeah, right before I got out of 40k, I had Gamal show up again in Demon Prince form with a bunch of like Emperor's Children and Death Guard at his back to basically come and take over the warband. And once again, he ended up winning. But I never really got to see what Gamal's leadership would be like because I kind of got out of 40k at that point.
Well, now you're back, and you have an entire Slaneshi demon with Emperor's Children that you somehow need to fucking justify.
Oh, no, don't worry, because, dun dun dun.
Oh, no.
Story-wise here, as I returned to 40k,
So did.
I also had 2 brand new characters return to the 40k universe. 2 characters that I never had before. They're new models that I purchased and everything, and they were members of the warband that had been sent off on a secret mission that Karis had put in place in case for when Gamal returns. They were supposed to be the 2 that came back with a whole bunch of reinforcements to basically like reinforce the warband before Gamal made it there, but they were too slow and the warband was essentially destroyed. So that's Hexus and Mykonos, my current lord and my warpsmith, who basically returned with a bunch of fresh warriors and everything, only to find that their warband had been destroyed by the Demon Prince Gamal. They have to fight their way to the center of his fucking fortress, fucking kill him, and take over the rest, and basically rescue the remains of the warband, who had survived under the leadership of Lieutenant Constantine.
You should teach me how to play Chaos, and we should play this. We should play this scene.
Oh, that'd be sick, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. I was about to say that. That actually sounds really good.
Yeah, you want to be Gamal?
Yeah, sure. I want to play the demons.
Gamal and like his like possessed marines and shit?
Yeah. I want to do that.
But yeah, story-wise, Hexus is supposed to have banished him to the warp, but if you remember, he had originally had a bunch of Emperor's Children allies with him when he had originally attacked, and that is the Demon Prince that I used to use for him has now been repainted and finished in the new colors for the Emperor's Children, and he's going to be their overall leader. And he's going to make a return to the 41st millennium, and I get to finally see what leadership under Gamal is going to be like. I just don't know how... I haven't decided how the 2 warbands are going to get along and all that sort of thing. Because obviously, Gamal, he's responsible for so much, like, pain and suffering in my Alpha Legion warbands. Oh God, I'm not sure how this is all gonna
The
work.
best way probably to figure this all out is just throw it on the tabletop. And we'll figure it out from there because we know we get a lot of we just start making up dog shit while we're fucking gaming. So maybe that's probably the best way. So we'll throw it up there. We'll with the Discord. We'll maybe do a Discord stream and the start our narrative series up again. Now that we've left Avalon due to reasons.
Yeah, maybe.
So I think it leads us into our next or one of our final points of our podcast today, of the how to homebrew, and it seems very much like both of us kind of take the ideas or the stories or the something that we like and just kind of change it a little bit, and start coming up with your own like paint schemes and your own storylines based on something you like, and just kind of like start changing it a little bit and then change it a little bit more and a little bit more.
Absolutely. Yeah, like I mean, I really liked Alpha Legion from the Dawn of War game, but as I learned more and more about them, I started adding my own little like twists into them and all that sort of thing. Like I really liked the idea of this Alpha Legion warband that was like trying to almost rival like Huron and Abaddon, but on the other side of the galaxy. Like that was Karis's whole thing, is he wanted to build an empire of chaos essentially.
Yeah,
He never got around to it.
and like so these also let you like tell stories with the paints and the way that you model them. Like it really allows you to very much show your style army.
Yeah. Well, on that note, actually, so like Hexus, she is a Chaos Lord that's like overused her Omophagia organ. Hers was mutated in the first place, and she was a Alpha Legion double agent originally, and she ate so many different people, both mortals and marines. So she was basically abusing it. She got addicted to essentially becoming other people. That kind of broke her mind. She doesn't remember who she was before. The Hexus Dismal is her current personality that has sort of taken over the body that she's in. And she is customized from a Fabius Bile model because her mission was to essentially like steal information from Bile to rebuild the warband and everything. And she briefly became him, and that was like the final thing that snapped her brain. So she still has like some of the accoutrements left over on her armor and everything from being Fabius Bile.
Just a quick question: did you watch Reboot growing up?
I did. Hexadecimal
So
Dismal is actually a spin-off of Hexadecimal's name.
no, you don't say.
Yeah, Mykonos is supposed to be Megabyte's name.
Oh shit, that one I missed.
Yeah, they're brother and sister.
That's hilarious. Oh, that's perfect. So now that I like remember what I was mentioning earlier is like using like the colors, your paint schemes to kind of like hint at things. You kind of like hide things in your models to tell stories about the models. Like personally for me, I've been trying to incorporate or I've been using like a Night Lord's blue as my first color dry brush before I go into the whites.
Yeah.
To kind of like give it like you can't really tell, but it's my own little teehee.
Okay. Nice.
Like so having the genetic like their base is there might be a little Night Lord in there because like if you look into the paint, there is some Night Lord in there for no other reason than just to hide it in there.
Yeah.
Because I personally I've been turning into a bit of a Night Lord simp, but that actually is a completely different podcast. And we're going to talk about that a different time because we talked about that for about an hour yesterday.
I finally corrupted him. I knew it would happen eventually.
I mean, first off, he's just right, honestly.
Yeah. Conrad's always right.
Conrad, yeah, his methods were just an issue. I mean, his methods were not even an issue. Like, I don't know how to, we're going to figure that out later.
No, fun fact here, actually. Conrad's story is what got me interested in chaos in the very first place too, like that and Dawn of War.
Yeah, his story is definitely a very interesting one, and I like that the two officially dead Primarchs that games will not probably bringing back ever because it would ruin a lot of things is Sanguinius and Conrad.
They are the two officially dead ones, aren't they? The two that
Yeah.
we actually have corpses for. Well, and Horus technically.
Yes. Okay, Horus. Right. He's also just deleted.
Yeah, he's a different kind of dead.
Yeah, he's a different dead. So that basically, like, it all really comes into just like having a way to make Warhammer mine. Well, a little more not even make it mine or put my print on it, or just a way to really enjoy your cake and make it too, because they give you so much.
Oh, I don't think that there is a wrong way to homebrew either, right? Like,
No, there's hours of podcasts on this, and this one tip that I remember from when I was getting into it to avoid what they call the Gary Stew problem. And I think it was Bricky actually that I got this from.
good old Gary.
Is if you want to try and brew your Gary Stew, if you want a Gary Stew and you want your own chapter, what you do is you create the Garyest of Gary Stews. You know, he arm wrestled Angron himself, whatever, and then kill him.
Kill him off.
Kill him off. And then you go ahead and you write the chapter that follows in their footsteps. So you still get your Gary Stew. You still get your old chapter master fucking bigamous dickamus. You know what I mean?
God, fucking
Ferris Fowler. That name is too fucking good. I'm sorry. You're still thinking about it.
Well, here's the funny thing though about doing a Gary Stew though. If you're doing Space Marines in any form, you could stick Gary Stew into a fucking dreadnought afterwards.
Exactly, and then that's also your Gary Stew could be the way that you get the excuse to put the lion on the table without actually like being like, why is the lion on the table?
Oh, I see.
So this right here is like, say from like would be the hunter, like the Lord of the Hunt.
Oh, yeah.
Like that's all he's known as. Who is he? He's the hunter.
He's the Goblin King.
Oh, exactly. This is Red Crow. This is White Deer. And they are like, why are they like this? It's like, oh, well, because he's over years and years and years.
The Earl King. That's what you gotta name your chapter master. That's what it was. The Lord of the Wild Hunt.
Yes, basically something along those lines. But I probably my flow is basically just almost bar for bar is what if the Kingdom of Avalon was in Algonquin instead.
Oh yeah, fair.
So like I might put like my leaders of like my dreadnoughts, and this is Black Bear. This is Red Crow.
Oh, that's a good name. That's
Yeah. There's I wanted to basically base my entire chapter off the indigenous people, but I'm not indigenous, so it felt wrong. So I just more of like it's gonna be like a love letter. Like, so if you want to create your Gary Stew, that's where you make your homebrew model. That's where you can start kit bashing. That's where you can go and grab that, like, oh, maybe that Age of Sigmar model that like kind of has the same base size as what I want to have. As a wonderful example of some homebrew that was going on, so we're not talking about ourselves, a buddy of mine, Geek Beardley, has been wanting to get into Warhammer. And he wants to play orcs, but he wants to play knights. Because he doesn't want to have a lot of models. He might even just be commissioning us to put it all together.
So he wants a lot of orc dreadnoughts and tanks and stuff, right? He doesn't actually want knights.
So no, unfortunately, there's so many times he was like, "How do I play orcs?" This is actually a really great case for him because he was like, "How do I play orcs, but play knights? I want to play knights, but how do I do it in orcs?" And after a long time of trying to go through there, and I'm like, "Well, if you got all these units," and when he didn't want it. So one day I just go to him, I'm like, "Geek, why don't you just play knights? Why don't you just play knights and model them with orcish bits? Why don't you play the Morcanites? Why don't you play a knightly house of free blades that were made up of orcs that got their mech boys or like a Gretchen that got inside a knight suit, and when the knight STL, or it's not STL, when the knight programming tried to read it. The throw mechanica, well, yeah, there's the whatever the AI for, sorry, what AI, abominable intelligence. So the knight suit plugs into him, and he's just like, well, this knight suit has been sitting derelict for thousands of years, and it wants to fight and against the true enemy, the heretics. That's what these knights were created for. So it's just called the enemy, the adversary. And like the orcs are like, oh, you just want to go around and fight things? Well, I want to go around and fight things. Where I'm from, so you've got these orcs are like, are you telling me you want me to go around and because the orcs believe that like whoever's the biggest is the one in charge, right?
True.
Well, now who's the biggest now? Who's the biggest? So now they're the biggest around, and they're going around and crumping all over the galaxy. And guess what? The Night Suit is okay with this, because guess what? They might be smelly and weird, but we're laying down fire in the name of fucking God. We are fighting the adversary, and guess what? These guys don't quit. So they like them.
True.
So that's just the way that
regrets.
we create. And then we end up like creating like these ideas of like, well now that the suit, what happens? Because the throne mechanicum also reprograms the people. So now we've got a whole bunch of orcs walking around acting like medieval aristocracy.
Yeah, that's hilarious. That's actually funny. That actually honestly, that just kind of seems like a return to second edition orcs, because they were just sort of green Imperial Guardsmen back then.
Yeah, so this is a way of homebrewing, of being able to play what you want with the story you want and just kind of justifying it. Like a lot of the times people have said like they just ask you why. They want an excuse. They want you to tell them a story. It's like, oh, like this doesn't make sense. So why does that happen? And you're like, oh, because biggest dickimus over here and Ferris Phallus go over there, and then they slammed a whole bunch of dudes, and like then we got this, and they're like, ah shit, cool, thank you for the story, and then we just carry on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like my tips are also just kind of like the Warhammer is just make it fit. Like it's really easy to make it fit. Like don't go too crazy. But like you can still fucking go pretty crazy, and it is Warhammer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I mean, for me, I did want to have a femme marine in there somewhere, obviously, but the question is like, okay, well then, a lot of people say like that's impossible and stuff. So I just came up with the idea. It's like, well, what if she's just trans? What if her brain has kind of been overwritten a little bit by all these other personalities, and this is what's come out of all the patchwork.
That again is a different podcast to talk about.
Yeah.
But there's no reason they can't transition.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like it's like okay, she just goes by she, and if you do not decide you don't want to respect her pronouns, that's fine. She's got a thunder hammer and a taste for human flesh.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But as for like actual, like homebrews, like like you said, keep it. Try to keep it in the lore.
Yeah.
Do a little bit of research. You don't have to like go crazy with it or anything like that. But there are like some parts of 40K that are important to nail. And a big one, actually, I think the key one overall is to remember that 40K is a grimdark setting. Your guys shouldn't be too noble bright. Like, you're allowed to have a little bit in there, but every time you add a little noble bright thing in there, add a little bit of darkness back in too. Like, even the salamanders are kind of fucked up when you think about it.
Yeah.
But that's the funny part.
Honestly, I view the salamanders as like, because one of the things that I had read is that they were supposed to be the Emperor's propaganda, part of the Emperor's propaganda wing. It's like, oh no, but they're nice to people, they're good to people. It's everybody else they're fucking mean to, and it's just like that kind of like falls for the fourth wall propaganda machine every time that people are like, oh, the salamanders are good, they're good to people, and it's like, and then they're out here, it's like, yeah, well, how are they to everyone else?
Mm-hmm.
And with all of that, before we go on for hours and hours, overall takeaway is have fun, play with your models, play with your ideas, play more.
Yeah.
And have a good time.
Yeah, most important thing, have fun with it. Second most important thing, it's grimdark.
Yes, and actually at this point in time, because we had not mentioned it throughout the entire thing, is this month, and for the next things, is we're very committed to like this homebrew kind of thing, at least I am. So we, in our Discord, have what is called the Armiger Awards. And the Armiger Awards are going to be a monthly Discord community event where everybody gets together, and on the topic this month is going to be Chaos Warbands. The last time was Space Marines, and probably next month is going to be Tyranids. Where we're going to open it to everybody in our Patreon, in our patrons, to create their own. We just want to give you the floor to create your own, and then after that point, to create your own, and then we do a general selection based on whatever criteria, and we end up giving away some models. And this month is going to be a box of Chaos Bikes. Chaos Bikers, because from our last episode, or from our first episode, Olive talked about how fantastic of a unit these can be. And personally, I'm a bike believer myself. So if you want to join our Patreon, the link is below, and you can be a part of these community events. You can join in anyways, and we all basically hang out, paint, homebrew, and have ourselves a really good time. I've been very much enjoying our Discord.
Yeah. Nice and chill in there.
It's nice and chill. And with that, I think that is our episode for today on homebrewing for strategy, homebrewing for story, homebrewing for enjoyment, or just brewing it.
Just brew, y'all.
Brew, y'all. So that, thank you very much. This has been the Night Cafe.
Please like and subscribe.
Please like and subscribe. We appreciate it. Keeps everything going. And with that, thank you very much.